Thanks so much for your time today.
Sure.
One of the things my family always loves is to find out what happens after the movie is done. Can you talk a little bit about where Back in the Crib fits into the Boss Baby universe for fans?
Sure.
I, I'm gonna. You're the lore master.
Master's overstating it, but well, this was a series that when I saw the movie, with others on the team with me, when we saw the Family Business movie, which was in a rough state at the time, they were still working on it. Um, but what we did see was this whole new family, with Tina and Tabitha and adult Tim and Carol, and really the genesis of the show came from that of, well, okay, what can we do with this? And then on top of that, it was, okay, well, the movies invented this technology where they can turn somebody back into a baby if they have to. So what would make him have to? And that led to, well, we'll frame him for embezzlement and put him on the run from federal agents for 3 to 5 years. And once those elements were in place, it was go time. It just led to so many stories and so many relationships that we were just thrilled to play with.
I know we can't talk spoilers, but what can Boss Baby fans see in this upcoming series?
What can they see? Well, I would. For me, the most exciting, as I was saying, the most exciting thing is Boss Baby fighting against being second banana and trying to remain the alpha that he's always been, the old school 24-hour businessman that he's used to being, versus Tina, who's very much work-life balance. I'm going to be a baby. And because in the first series, it was so much about Boss Baby trying to find the work-life balance. And Tina's like, oh, I got it. I'm already good. I'm fine. And he's like, whoa, wait, this is not how we do things, especially being a guy who's worked in the corporate world for, 10 odd years and now is returning to babydom. So I think that dynamic is just super fun. And also, I was talking about this with Max this morning. Tim was always the character of like jumping in and being like, "Ooh, I get to play. Ooh, I get to do this." And in this series, Tim is like, "Ooh, I'm an adult. Oh, do I get to play? I want to play. Can I play?" It's fun watching him like try to straddle being a dad and also wanting to be that kid again, running off on adventures.
What inside jokes or Easter eggs are longtime Boss Baby fans going to spot in this new series?
I know one, and boy, is it subtle. It was from one throwaway joke, in the first series, worker baby Peg, voiced by Hope Levy, who plays the mom in the old show. The team's breaking up, and she says something like, "Well, I guess it's back to underground. Got your nose fights for me." And when we do, sorry, it's very minor spoiler. She does show back up in this series, and when we meet her again, she is a belt holding title champion of competitive got your nose, and super violent at it. So that's a one fun little example. There's a few things like that in the show.
Very, very on brand for Peg.
It's little character things like that. I mean, the beauty of the concept of Baby Corp is that as long as you keep working there and keep taking that magical formula, you don't grow up. And you could, if you like it, you could stay at that company for 30, 40, 50 years. And a few people do. So it's fun seeing them in some new contexts with some new gags and jobs and whatever else is going on in their lives.
Yeah. I mean, just in the first few minutes, we see Peg, we see Amal, and we see Simmons, right? Back
Yep.
from,
Yep.
yeah.
There's so much to love about the Boss Baby. What is your favorite part of this iconic character?
He does have this undeniable heart underneath all of the bluster and business sense. And I also think, like, he is a listener, at least at the end of the day. Like, there'll be a lot of episodes, old series, new series, where he'll just be like, my way, and kind of doing it. But at the end of it, he always ends up taking into consideration what the other person is feeling or what's going on, and and sort of sitting with it and broadening his understanding of things. He never gets there immediately, but he does get there. And I think I mean, really, that's all we can ask of anybody. So, yeah.
How did the pandemic impact production on this series?
Oh, mercy. How did it not?
Yeah.
Well, I'll let JP talk first about the voice as a voice actor, and then I can weigh in.
I mean, those first few months were just just emails and text messages of just being like, "We're figuring it out. We'll see." And at the same time, I know me and all of my voiceover pals were basically scrambling to figure out how do we do this from home, because there's only really a handful of us up until that point that really had full service setups in their homes. I mean, I've had this box thing for a few years, but I only had like an iPad and just a simple mic to do auditions. So we really ended up upgrading like a lot of stuff, getting internet connections that were really worth it, and then it was those first few months of doing the records were just kind of figuring it out, and how do we do this, and working through all the tech issues, trying to keep a performance fresh while also being like, I'm sweating in here. Um, yeah. It was slow but steady, but I think once we were like 6 months in to the pandemic and had gotten it up and running, then it just is like clockwork. And now I love it. Yeah.
And my answer is imagine that, but every single department, except probably writing. Writing was the easiest transition to, okay, well, we have to meet over, video technology, but you can still write your script at home, and that's not going to change. But everything else, I mean, if you can imagine trying to edit an episode where timing matters down to the fraction of a second, and anything that you're watching is lagged. We've been doing these interviews, and my internet's dropped out twice now, I think, while we've been doing this. And these are just the things that happen. So everything was a learning process. Because animation didn't involve a set, we were the only ones for a while who could be doing anything at all. So it was kind of the combination of the difficulty and then the weight of all of Hollywood bearing down upon you of, hey, if you want to keep people employed, you're going to have to figure out how to keep this thing running. Like, okay, we can do it. We can do this. So very smart people figured out. Yeah,
No pressure at all.
Exactly.